Hey everybody, Streamers103 here, today with another replay cast. I've been digging through some of my old replays folders recently. While looking for some specific replays and just looking for some fun stuff. This is a game in patch 0.5.13, build 204680, so it's quite a while ago, put it that way. It's like, I think, 8 months ago. It was a battle play 27/10/2016. So yes, this is long before strafe disengages was a thing. Before, I think it was even before captain rebuild specs, stuff like that. Lots of different things. Anyways, we're playing a game on Estuary. Figured I'd look for some interesting games, I guess, and well, I found this one, at least off my screenshots. I haven't watched the replay, so I'm not exactly sure. So we're basically going to see me commentating on my own gameplay as I go. Anyways, kicking it off, gonna start off with torpedo bombers. The enemy aircraft carrier in Lexington is, well, it's a Lexington, so I want to get torpedo bombers up first. In the event that of the entire enemy fleet, the Mahan happens to be the direction I sent my planes. Having a look at the fleet list, so Atlanta, Kutusovs, Scheisenau, North Carolina, and Lexington is kind of on the list of I don't want to fuck about with, so I'd kind of like to avoid fucking about with that. But considering what I saw off the scoreboard, this should be an interesting game to watch. Anyways, gonna set my planes off to A. I seem to prefer this. A is well, slightly less open in a way than D, and well, none of these cabs are really that likely to see shit, cruisers and whatnot get too close, although A is slightly more likely. So basically I'm gonna fly towards A, see if I can't figure out what's going on. If I can't fly near that, then I don't. Anyways, as you can see on the map, there's no names on the maps and whatnot. We do have the range indicators and whatnot, but, that's about it. See an atoll also, I'm like, nah, I'm not flying near that. No, thank you. And I'm pretty much just hoping our team blasts that guy. Anyways, the enemy destroyer spotted on the other side, so pretty much gonna fly over there instead. Our destroyer is not leaving spawn yet. So, what the crap? Enemy carrier is basically announced that he is an idiot or useless or both already, because he's got 2 fighters and he hasn't done anything with them yet. So, good luck, have fun to the enemy carrier. I don't think he's going to get much achieved. I mean, then and again, there's not that much I can achieve with Atlanta, Kutusovs, Chapayev even in a way, plus Gneisenau, North Carolina, especially the Gneisenau is spec for anti-aircraft. But that's actually interesting. Cyclone, that might be very beneficial for me due to the fact that Cyclone means I can fly my planes in, I can drop on a target and get out of there before enemy aircraft carrier can react. Anyways, you can see the enemy aircraft carrier is pretty much exclusively decided he's going to park his fighters on the left side of the map. As a 222 Shoukaku versus a 202 useless Lexington, my focus is not on his fighters, it's to stop him from getting attacks in and then attack myself. And if the enemy carrier is basically AFKing on the western side of the map, I might as well fly to the other side of the map myself and see if I can't get an attack in. Unfortunately, we've lost to New Orleans already, so we're pretty unfortunate for us since, New Orleans radar could be very useful. And our Bismarck on the western side here seems to be going ham in there, which on its own is fine as long as I keep my planes here and prevent the enemy aircraft carrier from achieving much. He seems to be flying his fighters in to mess around with stuff, I guess. He moves them a little bit up, pressures me away a little bit, so I don't really want to muck around with them at the moment. Bismarck AA is pretty solid, so I can definitely take advantage of that. Enemy aircraft carrier is just going to sit there, and the enemy team of anti-aircraft blob is moving down Delta, so there's absolutely nothing I can achieve on this side of the map myself. I mean, Gneisenau, Shoukaku, North Carolina plus a cruiser is basically just a nah, I'm not flying into that zone. But, well, let's see what I'm going to do. I mean, first of all, let's just fly over there and see what... okay, Kutusov. I would honestly, strangers, suggest you pull... Strangers, what are you doing? Why are you flying planes into that? I mean, okay, fine. Okay, is there some information that I have that... I know that apparently... Was this before the changes to the AA mechanics, and the Kutusovs still actually had pretty bad AA, unless up with defensive, in which case it had retarded AA? Probably, but anyways, this Gneisenau seems to be heavily AA spec, but I want to fly in there and I want to remove both the Gneisenau and the Kutusov. Fortunately, my only plane that is making it in is now tagged. Gonna do a bit of a long drop because I can hit both the Gneisenau and the Kutusov, but hey, okay, that was just a complete waste of my planes. That was okay. I don't really know why I did that. Don't do that, guys, especially not now with the I guess you could say new AA. I'm not even sure what the anti-aircraft was back then, but that was a really silly move overall to do. Either way, the Kutusov is gone, so now it's just the Knights now left, who seems to be reasonably heavy anti-aircraft spec, so meh. Impatient me on that end, but hey, let's see what's going on. The enemy aircraft carrier still has achieved nothing, so I guess I've done a little bit of something, even though it's not really much, and realistically all I'm doing is just wasting my planes and making the enemy... Well, the enemy carrier is not doing anything, so hey, whatever. Anyways, our Pepsi's rushing the Atlanta. Hopefully he's managed to blast a lot of his health off. Our Western fleet seems to be having a reasonably alright time, despite one battleship going pretty heavy in on the 1-2 line. Hopefully he's reasonably healthy at the moment, so he can actually continue the push. Dive Bomber's heading towards this Pensacola. I'm not really interested in dealing with it, as long as the Atlanta's too close to the area, but Atlanta's heading a little bit away and he's probably busy shooting, so I'm just going to go and see if I can't tag the plane. Other Atlanta's still nearby, so again, I don't want to loiter around too much, and I'm pretty sure the Pensacola has triggered a defensive anti-aircraft. Strafing didn't want to commit, so I'm just going to pull planes away. Pretty sure the Pensacola is going to get auto-clicked by the enemy aircraft carrier, so for now I just need to get the strafing plane away and fly past the Colorado group. Maybe, you know, I can actually get a little bit of friendly anti-aircraft support off this fighter. Floatplane fighter does tag it, so I'm going to go back and counter-tag myself. Our fleet on the 1-2 line is doing reasonably healthy, so that's good for us. That's a free fighter kill for me, so, well, for us, for the team, so it helps me out quite nicely. And, well, I mean, guess it's alright for the moment. Anyways, gonna send my plane in and just dive bomb this spy in. You know, fires are useful because it means he might either be forced a damage control party or he's gonna continue burning. Otherwise, gonna send my torpedo bombers to the Chapayev, who is stock 32,000 health, so he doesn't have, you know, he's got neither radar or any real otherwise utility in a way. He's slightly weaker, but, you know, still not something I want to meddle with if he does have defensive up. Buy-in does damage on the fire, so I'm going to fly in and do a very ugly dive bomber drop for God knows what reason. Do get a fire, plus 3 hits, so that guy is basically dead, but so is probably my dive bomber, unless I go in and just double tag outside the Lexington's main AA range, so I do save the... I do save on the dive bomber, which is alright, because this enemy carrier is pretty much stuffed, because he was not, you know, he didn't have a mini-map, and he's just sat there, and he's going to get crapped on. Flying my stuff in there, my torpedo bombers, he does have a defensive up, so I'm not really interested in flying into that anymore. Hopefully he does get crapped on by the rest of the team and dies, which will be exceptionally useful for me. Well, considering that Lexington's defensive was up, I might as well go in and fly towards the Chapayev and see what's up. This is after AA changes, just checked, so I don't remember patch notes and when patches happen anymore. This Chapayev seems a little bit preoccupied dealing with other stuff, so I'm basically just going to fly my torpedo bombers in like this, drop, and he's going to turn away, so he is beyond fucked. If he'd fully interned, he still probably would have died as well, so hey, it's pretty much irrelevant. He didn't just have the health left to do anything. So, he's dead. Anyways, gonna keep moving my ship up, hopefully. My ship should be, like, sailing straight up this direction right now, because that's where it needs to be. If this fighter is just clicked... You know, let me check my plane speeds. Can I? Can I check my plane speed? No, I can't. Never mind. I mean, this is well beyond after the changes of stuff, so, yeah. Anyways, this Lexington seems to have gotten away, but I know he's triggered his defensive anti-aircraft, so even if he does survive, you know, the Cyclone is starting to kick in now. If he does survive, I can always just send a torpedo bomber and plonk him later on if I need to. He's sufficiently low on health. He died, so that's nice for me. Top 5 CV players than you, sure. Didn't exhibit that gameplay now, considering what I really attacked. But with the Cyclone up, I can now save massively on my planes, and considering the enemy aircraft carrier is dead, not like he did much, and he wasn't really there anyway, so hey... who cares about him? I mean, he was achieving absolutely nothing. He maybe did some damage to the Pensacola, but he didn't even remotely try to stop my planes, so he didn't really have a good time. Anyways, I need to start working on the stuff over here on Charlie. Try to get rid of this Atlanta that I think is inside of the area right now. Gonna fly my dive bombers in. Priority is to, you know, get behind, click on him. He's definitely seen the plane by now, but if he doesn't defensive it, lucky me. Got a dive bomber, got a fire, which he's almost definitely going to have to damage control party. Otherwise, he's going to burn to death. And there you go, there's a Damacon party. 2 bomb hits on superstructure should outright alpha kill him. Here comes the second bomber. He does trigger the defensive, but I think it should be too late. Or not, it wasn't. Lucky Atlanta. He realized, well, he failed to recognize the first drop. Well, I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter because his defensive is going to be off by the time I get my torpedo bombers there. Unfortunately, he did actually manage to trigger it on time. He must have triggered it the moment he saw the plane, and I clicked on him just too late because the first dropping empty plane had already dropped. But as you see, Atlanta anti-aircraft isn't that tough without time to whittle away at my plane. Although it's still incredibly strong, I don't really want to mess around with it. Anyways, our team seems to be dawdling around the north when they realistically need to be down south. Okay, this Atlanta had moved a little bit faster than I had expected, and he manages to crit 2 of my planes in. But if he's not going to react to it, then even a hilariously badly placed drop like this should upfront knock him out. And that's what I need to do, finish off enemy ships. And there you go, the Atlanta does manage to suck the torpedo and die. Gonna do a little bit of a dodgy drop on this York. It's basically on the hopes that he's not going to react to it, but unfortunately for me, he does actually react, so he's only gonna take 2 if I'm lucky. Don't worry, that's my team speak. He does actually manage to evade that because he was sailing so slow to begin with. So, hey, whatever the hell. Fuso's in range of my fighter, and the other battleship's gonna come in, but it doesn't matter. The enemy carrier's already dead, so even if I do lose my fighter squadron, it's not a major problem. Launching this fighter, which is fine because none of my other planes are on time to actually get back in time to actually be interrupted in their landing sequence, so it's perfectly fine. The York did damage control party whatever crit I managed to plonk on him, so I'm going to see if I can't be on time to set some more fires. Our southern fleet's now been wiped out. Unfortunately, this low plane's going to spot my plane coming in, which unfortunately means that, you know, there's more time for enemy anti-aircraft to affect it. This is definitely during the time period where Cyclones, you know, did not remove spotting, if you want, from planes. So enemy carriers, enemy ships could still see my planes coming in, simply provided that there was a plane to spot it. I have no clue what I was trying to achieve there, but now, because I'm approaching from behind, I can readjust my drop at any given point I want. Second bomber should be unspotted. Well, it's barely spotted at the moment, and now it should be unspotted. Just keeping my fighter to make sure the York does actually stay spotted. Gonna see if and when he does decide to damage control party this fire, so I can plonk him again. Realistically, this dive bomber should be moved somewhere ahead of him and just keep the fighter in range to keep him spotted. There's no point whatsoever in launching this fighter. I won't need it at all because the enemy carrier is dead, and I'm basically just using this thing to bleed to keep the York spotted, and there you go, he's damage control partied it. I decide instead I'm going to use this dive bomber to set the fire on the Fuso and use a second torpedo bomber to plonk the Fuso if he does decide to damage control party. Otherwise, I'm going to use this in a hilariously badly aimed and angled fashion to come plonk this York instead. That's basically a dead York flooding on him, and he's permanently gone. So now it's a question of did the Fuso put out the fire or not. There you go, you see this York, it does decide to slow down straight into the torpedoes. It doesn't really matter because, you know, whatever, he's, you know, pretty much stuffed. This Fuso is letting it fire burn, so hey, I will just let him burn. Once the fire is burned for a little while and it's probably almost about to extinguish it normally, I'm going to drop my torpedo bomber on him and force him to damage control party, hopefully. Sending my fighter in there to kill the floatplane fighter. Unfortunately, the North Carolina is there, but hey, the floatplane fighter is dead, and even if I do lose my fighters, who cares? At this point, it's pretty much irrelevant what I do with my fighters because the carrier is dead. Realistically, I haven't actually recognized at this point that the Mahan is still active in the game. So realistically speaking, I should actually honestly go look and find this Mahan so I make sure he doesn't suddenly show up in my face at 8 kilometers without my torpedo bombers ready. That would actually be quite terrible. We do manage to find him. You can see my fighter was loitering around looking for him. So hopefully I should be sending this, well, I should send this fighter up to spot this Mahan. Do get a torpedo bomber drop on the Fuso. Missed the bow hit so I don't get the flooding, which is a bit unfortunate. But I won 4 kills already, and hopefully I can nab my 5th one on this Fuso. Unfortunately no flooding, so, you know, nothing really to be able to get through there. Gonna send my dive bomber in, which is now unselected. And you can see I've bled a lot of my planes by now. This is my last dive bomber squadron, so I should honestly be trying to keep this thing alive. Fuso's got a double fire burning on him, which well, if he's going to leave it burn, then he's going to leave it burn. Our Bismarck does manage to black away the North Carolina, so that's the biggest issue for me, completely removed. Unfortunately, Mahan torps him to death because I was not paying attention and not properly doing any spotting for that myself, which is absolutely horrible play on me. Should be using these completely irrelevant fighters to be doing that instead. Anyways, the Fuso, in his decision to let the 2 fires burn, has bled so much health that this Torpedo Bomber Alpha is just upfront going to knock him out. Good for me. Flop. There's my Kraken Unleashed. Fuso gone. So now we have one battleship that's kind of out of the battle. This guy's capturing Delta, which is good because it's reducing our health and our point bleed. So that is what we need. So remaining enemy is Ignite now and a Mahan. So well, Cyclone's still up for a little bit more. I don't think it's going to stay for too long, but I would like to black this Mahan because it seems he's coming for me. With the islands nearby, it's a little bit annoying to deal with because he could use the islands to effectively hide himself and reduce my ability to torpedo bomber him. But if the guy seems perfectly happy to not react whatsoever, then I guess I shall just do that to him. Thank you very much. And only one enemy ship left. Yep, there you go. Stranger's finally realized to send his plane home. Our battleship's captured Delta, we have the point advantage. This guy's now on half health, so he doesn't really have much to play with, and I still have a good series of planes left. Well, more than enough to deal with a Gneiss now, even though he is off Cyclone now, so his anti-aircraft is actually going to have time to work. Sending the dive bomber in, gonna click him. Pretty much standard play here. Dive bomb, fire, flood, later, you know, stuff. 6k damage, double fire, which is definitely quite handy for me. Our Colorado is still healthy enough, but if Ignite now inserts torpedoes in face, then our Colorado isn't going to be exceptionally healthy anymore. Coming in with the torpedo bomber, he does damage control party the fire, so torpedo bomber flooding is basically a guaranteed kill for us. Because, well, alpha damage. Especially considering the fact that the USN-16 in his Colorado is reasonably close as well. Now this Colorado, if he's going to shoot AP, he needs to shoot it directly at the upper tip of his bow just to get the lol pens in. Not exactly sure how this Gneiss now is going to react to turn. He does decide to turn in, which is something I should have predicted, but he turns in way too late, so bam, bam, he dodged the last one, but the flooding's up, so he is guaranteed dead. Our Colorado, I guess he's going to sail into some torpedoes. One is fine, he's going to be able to survive that. This is the last guy on the enemy team, so, well, if you don't shoot him, then I guess my flooding will tick down and get the Gneiss now, which I do manage to do. Anyways, with my gameplay there was being honestly pretty horrendous, all in all considered, because, well, let's put it this way, wasting that many planes in the beginning was not a very smart move. The enemies, well, it worked out in the end because the enemies that went there died, but having bled that many planes in the beginning is never a good idea. Anyways, having a look at the post-battle results screen, which I do happen to have, 138k damage, which is alright, but I just wanted to, you know, show 7 kills, me stealing kills, I guess. Randomly going through replays to look for stuff, because the games I've recently had have not really been very good at all. 16 planes down because the Lexington, well, 1 wasn't doing anything, and 2, the enemy had a lot of AA, and 3, he died early, so hey. In the end, the enemy Lexington was pretty much completely irrelevant because he wasn't trying to achieve anything whatsoever. I mean, with the heavy AA nature of the enemy fleet, again, you know, if it wasn't for the Cyclone, I wouldn't really have been able to achieve much either. Anyway, scoreboard, you can see not much experience. I think this was during the time where people were bitching about carrier economy. Not like it really matters. I didn't do that much damage, but 7 kills. Not that many planes either. The tail report screen, 44k off the Fuso. He pretty much let me have it on him all. Not much he can do about it when Fuso versus Shoukaku. He's pretty much stuffed. It's just a matter of how long can he delay his fate. Picked up 31k off the Gneiss now in the end. 16k off the Chapayev. Didn't manage to drop a Lexington. He did actually pay enough attention to trigger his defensive anti-aircraft. 13k off the York, meh. 10k off the Bayern, pretty much what can he do? Dive bombing the Atlanta a little bit. Do manage to pick up the kill on him eventually, but him triggering defensive was minorly annoying. I didn't really expect him to be paying much attention because he didn't that defensive the first plane, although he could, you know, In another way, you can intentionally do that just to try to, you know, bait me into attacking, but in a Cyclone, without planes nearby, he doesn't really achieve much with it. Now, of course, this was during the time period where spotting planes through Cyclone was possible, and my planes could be AA'd without me being able to see the ships AA'ing. That's no longer possible. AA only affects up to 3 kilometers in Cyclone now, which in my opinion is a pretty nice CV buff during Cyclone. Credits and XP, not much, and not much, so not much to talk about here. Anyway, sorry for procrastinating away a lot of the time, thanks to, oh, I forgot even the name, someone I met in random battles reminded me to deprocrastinate my tail and actually start making videos again, so here we are. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this replay commentary. I will be spending a lot of time preparing for Gamescom, which I definitely will be going to. If I do find a time, I promise I will do one stream. If I do find a time, that is, and before Gamescom, that is. If not, well, sucks to be me. But I really do want to. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast, and I shall potentially catch you guys in the next one. If not, I'll see hopefully some of you guys at Gamescom. For those that have been, know my stream or know me or know what I do, it should be pretty obvious. It should be easy to recognize me. If I don't get to show you guys what I will be wearing for Gamescom, you'll recognize me instantly. Anyways, take care and see you in the next one.